But waiting to the very end of the season to start developing some of your young guys, it's very hard to judge the stats that they put up because a lot of teams pretty much begin to start checking out, or they already secured their playoff positioning. They're kind of dialing things back a little bit, going on cruise control and trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. It's definitely hard to judge, but Mike Breen touched base on this during the broadcast.
But we said this the other night, Clyde. End of the season, games like this, when, for example, this game means nothing to the Raptors. Obviously, the Knicks have been eliminated from any kind of postseason or play-in participation for a while now. You can't get seduced by some of the performances in the final weeks after a team has been eliminated. Because if you look down, half the league's players, their career high is in mid-April. When games don't clear, a lot of guys have their career high April 15th or April 8th, or when the games don't matter as much. So you do have to be careful when you're evaluating and making decisions based off games this late in the season that don't have the same meaning. At the same time, forget that. You can still see real growth and potential by some of these young Knicks.
Yep, you're right, Mike. Well, these guys have all the analytics, so they know when the team is under pressure and when the guys played. So that's what the Knicks will have to figure out.
I think it's one of the toughest things for a front office to do, because, you know, you have your players, you want your players to develop, you see them putting up some good numbers end of the season, but at the same time you have to be real careful in terms of your definitive evaluations.
Mike Breen nailed it right on the head. And some of our fellow Knicks fans who love Obi, who love Quickley, especially when they start, been pleading Thibs all season, just start them. You can't tell them nothing. But they're not going to want to hear this, because from October to January, there was only about 8 50-point games. And in the last few weeks of the season, from March 9th through March 23rd, there were 9 50-point games. That's how much players at the end of the season take their foot off the gas. So it's kind of hard to judge guys when they kind of go off at the end of the season, because we all know a lot of teams are already established getting into the playoffs. They're trying to get healthy, and the lines tend to get blurred on how good some of these guys really are, putting up a 30-piece, a 40-piece, a 50-piece. Things tend to get crazy. Once again, from the beginning of the season, from October to January, there was only about 8 50-point games. And then in the last 3 weeks of March, there was 9 50-point games in a 14-day span. That's how much guys take the foot off the gas. So once again, we love to see Obi and Quickley do their thing, but we can't just go off of those few games at the end of the season and just say, hey, fuck Randall, start Obi, and then put Quickley as a starting point guard. We still gonna need a little more time to have a proof of concept with both of those guys putting in work from the beginning of the season all the way into the end. But it's also a blessing in disguise, because now this kind of throws an alley-oop for maybe the front office to put a little pressure on Thibs to play some of the younger guys for more extended periods of time.